Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Happy Monday. So happy to see you here this morning. I am Kalua and I am imperfectly amazing. So today I want to piggyback on last week. I talked about moving your body as the foundation for your spiritual development, for healing, right? We know that um, moving the body is really good for the physical body, but it's also really good for connecting to our divine source. It's really good for healing, emotions, and really getting in connection with yourself. And today I wanted to take it just into another step further and talk about the energy systems in your body and how moving those can really start to affect your life and the different aspects of it. And so thank you so much for the likes and hearts. And if you're here on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, go ahead and say hello in the comments, and I can see who you are and say hello back. And of course, anything you want to add and any questions you may have, please keep them, get them rolling. So it's really funny because I have to, hey, good morning, Jennifer. So good to see you. So it's really funny. I have to start with, I decided to go get one of those acupressure massages. And let me just click, good morning, Dot. Yes, movement is so important. And just, like I said, not just in I'm going to get my heart beating and, make sure I'm in good physical health, but the whole thing, the whole picture. But so I went this weekend, I decided to get one of those massages. And what I really like is those acupressure massages, right? So this is where, if you're familiar at all with Chinese medicine, with acupuncture, right? What they do with acupuncture is they tap into different meridians in your body. And so essentially these acupressure massages are massages, but where they really kind of dig into some of these pressure points and like really get on those meridians and stuff. And I tell you what, every time I have one of those, I feel like I walk out like 2 inches taller, right? They're so wonderful. But uh, I I came out of that one and it was funny because I like went in feeling like, oh, last time I was here was really tight. And so I was feeling really proud of myself, like, oh, I'm in such better, condition this time. No, there were definitely still some spots. But what was amazing to me is I had coming off of the full moon. Ugh, I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of people this happens to, where you sleep gets just a little wonky around the time of the full moon, maybe a lot of wake ups, right? The energy is high. And so it seemed like this last time we had the full moon, um, a lot of times I recover afterwards, right? I get a little extra sleep, maybe the next few nights. And this time I didn't have that, where I got that. And it just sort of stayed with me. Oh my goodness. Well, I did that massage, and the next morning I slept till like 11:30 in the morning. It is unheard of. So I say that just to give that example of how powerful body work is in all the different aspects of your life. Jennifer, you turned on notifications of the lives. Yay! I'm so glad. Yes, I'm so looking forward to having you here all the time for those. So yay! But what I want to get into this week is the energy center. So that what I was just talking about is more the Chinese, right? Traditional Chinese medicine. Now I'm going to go the other way into Ayurveda. So if that would be more Indian and yoga, right? Both of these thousands and thousands of years old, right? So they've truly stood the test of time for a reason. They're really powerful. This is their functional medicine. And within our body, there are these energy centers, also called chakras. And I always really nerd out on when science kind of backs this stuff, because we're just seeing more and more of all of that ancient wisdom that a lot of people kind of started to blow off as hooey and woo woo and all of this stuff now starting to be backed by science, right? Now we have the equipment to actually see these energy centers in the body, and they see them, right? And they're attached to organs and parts of the body. And it's like this web, right, of energy that exists within your body. And chakra actually means wheel, and they call them wheels of light. And so we have 7 major ones throughout the body. And I'm just going to do like a quick little, I'll go through each of them and just talk about how moving those will really start to open up different aspects of your life. So the very first spot is, so you'll hear it's like towards the base of the spine. Truly, what it is sort of that perineum area between the anus and the sexual organ is really where it's like way all the way down there at the bottom is really where that is located. It's called the root chakra. And I'm not going to get into the Sanskrit names because I'll butcher them, but it's the root chakra. And this is all about your sense of stability and security. This is the most dense, right? So this is like your physical being. This is just the like being in this physical realm. This is that foundation, right? This is your foundation. And of course, it translates into, home environment, where you live. Do you feel safe? Are you secure? Are you stable? One of the really big topics that comes up here for a lot of the women I work with is money, right? I mean, let's be real, money doesn't bring happiness, but, try not having any when the bills are due. And we know how that feels, right? Most of us do. So money does, at least having that secure amounts coming in, money does bring that sense of stability for us. And we have so much programming, whether it be cultural programming or things you learned from your own family around money. And we tend to have this very toxic relationship with money. We're stressed about it. We're not in this loving flow. And the more you clench and stress about it, the more that energy clenches and money does not flow to you. So the root chakra is really associated with the legs and the feet. And so I mentioned last week, but I'll repeat, the women who are in my Crave club have access to some movement videos where we go through all of these different areas. And so I'll reference that a little bit. So in that root chakra video I have, we start to move the feet and the legs. We get them going. I always say, and this is not mine, this comes from someplace else, but move your body to clear your mind. And that's what, we get so caught up in our thoughts and overthinking and, oh God, do I have enough? That we just sometimes need to get out of that space. And so as we just move the body, we get out of our heads, right? And like in this particular case, we move the feet and the legs. So we're really, opening up that area energetically. And what I'll do at the end of the videos is I'll put up a question. Now journal on this for like 10 minutes and that's it. I know so many people are so journaling resistant, but if you could do this at least once, the amount of ahas that start to come out are just like, kind of mind blowing. And I know that was really the big thing for me for so long. People talk about reversing your limiting beliefs, reversing those subconscious beliefs. And I remember just being there stuck like, well, they're subconscious. How do I know what they are? This is how I got to that. This is how I got out of my head and allowed them to pour out of me. Right. And so time after time, like this very first video in the series is the one that I swear gets the most attention, because I get so many messages back about, holy cow, just the whole thing about money just started to loosen up. And I remember somebody saying, yeah, it's still a thing, but it's not like the elephant in the room that it used to be. It's not like this thing that just sits over me all the time, this stress about money, and every time I have to spend, it's gonna this opens that up. You start to reveal, what is it? What is going on in your head that is making you feel this way? And now you have that jumping off, that diving board where you can reverse it and start to work on that. So then we move up, and it's like maybe like two fingers under the belly button, essentially, and that's the sacral chakra. And this is an area that tends to need a lot of healing. You've heard me talk a lot about, this is a patriarchal society, so we value masculine attributes. We've been taught to, really work those masculine, taking action, go, be busy, and those are great. But just like everything else, when they're out of balance, it's just this road for burnout, right? So the sacral chakra is the feminine, right? It tends to, it's water is the element that's associated with it. It's creativity, right? This is where we create life, whether you're a man or a woman, right? This is where you create life. And this is an area that tends to be in need of a lot of healing, because we've been so caught up in the masculine, getting back into that flow of feminine energy and embracing the unknown and pleasure and joy and just love, loving your life. And this, if you've ever looked at the pelvis, the shape of the pelvis, it almost looks like a bowl. And so there's like these three body weights, right? That we have. The head is a major body weight, the chest, and the pelvis. And they hold, right? Each of them has a container that holds. So a lot of them, a lot of times, emotions and stress and different things get caught up. And, some of us have different ones that tend to hold more than the other, just depending on experiences in our lives. But the pelvis is an area that tends to hold. And, a lot of times we don't move our hips because we've been taught, wow, that was really cool. Did you guys see that go by above me? We've been taught that moving the hips is, sexual, and that means you're loose, or like, what are all the, you trollop, like all of these things, these, that come along with moving the hips. And they're just hips, my loves. They're just hips. It's okay. So, if you've been really in this place of not moving your hips, they can feel very tight and very stuck. Thanks, Jennifer. and and as you start to move them, you may find that a lot of emotions come out. And I'm going to get a little personal here, especially if you've ever experienced any kind of sexual trauma. And this can be on any level. It can be, really severe sexual trauma, or it can be, just not being authentic with yourself, where maybe you've done something you just didn't really want to do that day, or, that can still feel, that can feel dishonoring of yourself, and that can sit there. So a lot of this may start to come out as you move those hips, and that's okay. It's better out than in. Let's release it. Few comments. I love how awareness lets us move our attention up and pushing a topic or area out of our attention until we can move into that area. We keep going up the body and aligning things into attention, heart and soul, and moving our feet. Yeah. Jennifer, my hips are tight and stuck and hurt. Yeah. Yeah. And so just, little hip circles, things like that. And if you're uncomfortable, you just do it in your room, shut the door. Nobody has to look, nobody has to see. They can't call you a troll up there, right? So, but just for your own health and truly a lot of our internal organs as we move these hips, right, really get massaged and start working a little better, right? The digestive system starts working better. So this is another really big area of opening up, right? That feminine, that opening up the creativity for yourself. And then moving up, we get to I would say like maybe even 3 fingers above the belly button, just, of course, depending on your torso and everything, but that general area sort of underneath that oh, what is it? The hyoid process? Oh God, my anatomy and physiology teachers would be rolling if they heard this. But that bone at the end of your rib cage, right? So, slightly below there, but and above the belly button, that's going to be your solar plexus chakra. And this is your area of power. And that word tends to have sternum. Thank you, Jennifer. It's Monday morning. The brain is farting. um, this power, the word power tends to have a negative connotation, but true empowered power is not negative, right? So when we think of power in a negative way, we're thinking of bullying, bossing, people abusing power. That's actually that's broken. That's broken power. That's not true embodied power. That is somebody who is actually quite disempowered. They're not confident. They are not worthy. And so they're overcompensating. Okay. So when you're seeing that, just love, understanding that they're in this place in their journey and they just have a little further to go. And yes, we often don't like it. A lot of times we just need to send them love, but let's not get caught up in, I can't step into my own power because I don't want to be an a-hole. Okay. Right. True power is very loving. It is very giving. It is, I love, you see a lot of those visuals like climbing the ladder and then reaching your hands back to help somebody up to the spot where you are. That's true power, right? That's reaching out, sending out that hand, that love to somebody else to lift them up, right? When we're knocking people down, when we're, I think this is like a really big turnoff for me is when I hear somebody try to promote their business by putting down someone else's business. And I'm like, well, if your business is that good, you don't need to put down somebody else, right? So that is, just kind of one of those classic sales examples that I see where I'm like, that's very disempowered. And for me, it's sort of a red flag and I back off. Yes, Datsa, yeah. And so that is, if that person was truly empowered, they don't need to do that. And so that's just kind of one of those little everyday examples. But, this is where our worthiness lies. And this has been a really big focus for me. I've done a lot of worthiness. I've talked a lot about having noticed that toxic things were showing up in my life quite a bit. Toxic relationships, toxic work environments, all of that toxicity. When I had to sit back and take some personal responsibility, I was the common denominator. So what's going on? Well, truly it was my worthiness. I had some stuff that I had to work through to really pull myself up into that place of knowing that I deserve to actually have a life I love and make good money, not or. I deserve to have a handsome person, right, in my life, and that treats me kindly, right? So there's all these things where we make these stories up that it has to be one or the other. Make it an and. You get to have it all. Anything, what you want, you are worthy and deserving. And if you're desiring it, it's actually meant for you. You don't just desire anything for no good reason. It was meant for you. It was the download that came to you. So it is yours. And you just have to be worthy of it. And it begins to show up. And so, of course, this is going to be that area, like abs, right? Moving the belly. I like to do a lot of spinal stuff here, right? Because as we move the spine, we really start to move this area around. And truly actually like that core strength, right? Because, as we stand in our power, we want to be strong here. We want to be strong in that core. And what happens, like when you have a weak core, everything sort of kind of sinks down. And you're not standing in your power when you're sunk down like this. You got to be strong and lift into the belly, right? And stand up straight. And, if you ever watch Amy Cuddy on TED Talks, and she talks about like these power poses, like that Wonder Woman pose, and just how getting into these power poses can completely shift your mood, your way of thinking, before a job interview, go get into a power pose in the bathroom and then go in for your interview, right? So all of this is strengthening that power. Okay. Stepping into power. Let's see. Dot is saying, stepping into power, sense of who you are instead of trying to crush others to stand on theirs. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Jennifer, yes, personal responsibility. I'm all jacked up and tight. Woo! And so that is why studying the body and chakras are so empowering, seeing many parts coming together to make us who we are, and each part relies on the others. Yeah. What I think is really cool too is I notice in my own life how like it keeps moving up, but I also, when you look at society, how we have actually, as a whole, as a collective, keep moving up higher and higher. And truly, I think that we're kind of getting to here now. So it's really exciting. So yeah. So then, as we move up to the heart, and the heart is about unconditional love, no conditions. And it's not just for others. It is also for you. Okay, so that unconditional love for others and for yourself. One of the things that I love about the heart is, so obviously, we're going to move the chest, right? In and out, right? Expand, contract. But the other thing I love is when you extend out, and this is something I show little kids a lot, like when I would teach dance with little kids. When you extend out, right? Let me see if I can get there. There you go. When you extend out, right? Your hands are like this extension of your heart. And so that's why hugs are so important. And that's why, like, so especially with little kids, I said, when you hit, that's hurting your heart because that comes from your heart. And does that feel good? And so using your hands for kindness is something that I really love to teach little ones. But yeah, so that heart is just all about that unconditional love. And as we move this, because again, so here's that chest, that other cavity, we hold a lot of stuff here. We have heartbreaks, we have grief, we've lost people, whether, emotionally or physically, we've lost people. We grieve, old relationships, we grieve people, leaving this earth realm. So this is a place like to open up, to move it around and release that. And, again, it's going to come out as it's ready. It doesn't have to be all at once and so overwhelming. You just, as you move, you just start to release some of that and that healing. And, as you clear some of the past hurts, you open up. It's just kind of like that idea of cleaning out your closet, right? You pull out the clothes that don't honor you anymore. This, doesn't fit that great anymore and it makes me feel like crap. So why is it still here? And, this looks really worn out now. Why am I still holding on to this? And then when you clear that out, it makes room for the new, for stuff that honors you, that you love. It's like, oh, this makes me feel so good when I put it on, right? That's the same idea. So allowing, as we clear out the stuff, the old, the grief, what doesn't serve us anymore, we make all this room for the new to come in, right? You're at a new level. You've learned from the past. You have a new vibration, and now you're making room for more of your new vibration to make its way into your life. And then we travel up to the throat. And the throat is all about your voice, right? Your authentic voice, speaking your truth. How many times do we do that? It's fine when it's not. We've all been guilty of it, and I'm sure we still do it. Somebody says, "How are you doing today?" "Oh, I'm good." "Were you really?" No, probably not. And so this is an area that, and I've talked many times about how I had a lot of physical symptoms, really serious throat problem, like sore throat, just awful. Teeth grinding, all kinds of stuff happened because, and I'm still working on this area, my love. So, because of that, messages I received as a child: be quiet, think before you speak, children should be seen, not heard, yada, yada, yada. Right. So, this can be an area where we really, hold energy, and a lot of neck work, right? Just allowing that head to roll around, you know, little stretches, different things, moving your head. Um, I've had Jennifer saying, I've had an unfiltered mouth toward a certain someone lately. Yes. Isn't it amazing though, how you can have it like so open in one way, but not another too. And in different phases, like I was such a speak my mind kind of child, and really just had that knocked out of me constantly, and then got to this age where I was like, oh, just people please, say what people want to hear. And then then all the stuff started happening, and I was like, yeah, this is not serving me. I'm sorry if I triggered you. That's about you, not me. And I have to, again, still working on it, but I have to be okay with being in my authenticity and not worrying about what others are thinking about it, because ultimately you have to do what's best for yourself. So then we move up here to this area, just sort of a little above the eyebrows and between them, and that's the third eye. And this is where I feel like everything here that we've worked on sort of comes together. Now you've been moving your body, you've been getting in touch with all these different areas, and now you are in connection with yourself, and now you start to trust yourself, and so now you trust your intuition. So you just know, oh, this is what's right for me. Oh, this is what's in alignment for me, right? I felt it, and I know it to be true, because it wouldn't have come to me if I didn't feel it, right? And this is actually the spot where I like to let you sort of take over your own movement and see and tap into your body, and what, like, oh, that needs to move today, or right? Just sort of let your body take the lead. Let your brain turn off and let your body take over, because the wisdom of the body is so strong, and it's going to show you exactly what you need, whether it be physically or emotionally or energetically. Jennifer's currently reading a book on intuition and the inner still small voice. Very good book. Oh, Jennifer, you have to put that in the comments so others can check that book out as well. Yeah. And then finally, we move all the way up to that spot, sort of just above the head, is the crown chakra. And this is that spot we sort of open up, and you always hear me talk about lean back, let that light sort of flow into your body from there. And that's the light of the divine. And so now that we have connected so beautifully to our body and to the different areas of our life, we can really feel that divine love pour into us and just start to fill us, right? So you know that you can't pour from an empty cup. This is how we get filled, and we don't want to pour from even a full cup. We want to give from our overflowing cup, right? And that comes from Mama Gina. Love that. This is where we do that. This is where we fill ourselves back up. So As I mentioned, I know I've gone on a bit of time here today. I could talk all day on this one. Love it so much, but this is where the physical really starts to meet, the spiritual and the energetic and the emotional, and where we can do so much healing. And so, as I said, the members of the Crave Club have a series of videos where they can access all of that and be guided in these movements. And at the end, there's a chance to journal on these different topics of your life to really get some clarity on maybe what are some of the subconscious things going on that maybe are either working for you and we want to amplify, or are not working for you, they're kind of holding you back, so we want to reprogram the brain and just create a new pattern there in your brain so that this is no longer keeping you blocked. Another thing I'm super excited is this month's Crave call, right? Not this Friday, next Friday is our monthly Crave call. It's a little weird because the month started on a Saturday. So next Friday is the third Friday of the month. We will be doing some movement right in our call to get, connected to ourselves and to use it to release, anything that is not working for our highest good, and to get into that connection with ourselves and, like, oh my goodness, actually maybe use it to start achieving our desires. I like desires. Desires is my word this year, and I like that better than goals. Doesn't that sound so much better, right? So achieving our desires. So if you would like to check that out, go ahead to mycrave.club and see if that's a good fit for you. Otherwise, I hope this was helpful and you can use this as a way to start moving your body and, just put on some music, or, however you do it. Obviously, doing things like I've been sharing a lot on social media, different movement forms that can get your body moving. Yoga, uh, Tai Chi. What else did I share? Oh, I know there was another one. Yoga, Tai Chi. I've got Qigong coming this week, talking about that. That's been a real favorite of mine lately. And yes, Jennifer is in agreement with desires. I love it. And so I hope this is helpful for you. If I'd love to hear your comments. And, if you're not here in real time, thank you for these beautiful souls, these ladies who have been commenting here in real time. If you're not here in real time, go ahead and keep the comments coming. Let me know what you think. If you'd like to message me, I will get back to you for sure. I love hearing from you. And of course, I have, in Instagram, you can catch my link in the profile here. I have the link attached if you want to connect and, see different things that I've got going on, if they might be in alignment for you. But of course, always like and share if you feel that it would be of benefit to somebody else, right? Because we're in that empowered sense of power, right? So there we go, my loves. Have an amazing week. Mwah! And I will see you Wednesday at 9:30 for our divine guidance for the week. Have a great one.